Chapter 20, Marrying Nancy Flores. When I got back to San Quentin and went to my initial classification review, I thought I was about to catch a huge break when one of the counselors told me that they didn't do 30-day dryouts in ADSEG for validated shoe inmates. He said, either your parole officer is going to lift the hold and kick you loose, or he's going to have to violate you for something else because we can't hold you. He said he called my parole officer the next day and let me know what happened. I didn't think he fucked me over by violating me for anything else, since he sat there and flat out told me that I was going to only do 30 days. But once again, my good luck just never seemed to last. The counselor pulled me out the following day and said he talked to my parole officer and I was getting slapped with 2 more parole violations, not following instructions and trying to deceive a urinalysis test. It really didn't surprise me that he reneged on his word and decided to fuck me over, but I didn't think he had good reason to hit me with 2 more violations. All I could hope for now was to get something under 90 days or possibly even under 120 days so that I could still be out in time to see Connie have our baby. But my luck is pretty consistent. Once again, I was about to get fucked over. Screening offered me 6 months, which I thought was a slap in the face, considering the fact that I originally was offered 30 days, or I was originally given 30 days. I refused the offer and opted to take it to board, hoping to get a better deal, but this too even backfired on me. I walked out of my board hearing with 10 months flat and a guarantee that I missed the birth of my baby. Meanwhile, I still continued to maintain regular contact with both Big Roach and Conejo, even though I was in custody. I'd write the coded letters and mail them to Connie, then have her switch out the envelope and mail them the letters. So she was basically my mail drop. During the next couple months, while in Quentin, awaiting transfer back to the Bay, I ran into quite a few NF members and some stout NR believers who were all on ADSEG with me. NF leader Art Big Smiley Ramirez from Salinas and NF leader Mike MC Castillo from Salinas were both overseeing the yard. Both of these Cs were Category 3 NF members, which is basically the highest grade within the organization. Other Cs that were present or passed through were Larry Paki Amaro from Salinas, Hector Copas Colegos from Salinas, Marty Flaco Lomas from San Jose, Robert Chico Rose from Salinas, and Lorenzo Lencho Guzman from San Jose. Almost immediately after I hit the yard, Big Smiley and MC propositioned me about the prospect of becoming a member of the NF. It was by chance that I had an opportunity to run into Big Smiley because he was a lifer who had come from Pelican Bay on a temporary medical transfer and was only there for eye surgery. But during the few months he was there, him and MC worked together scouting out potential NF recruits in an effort to bolster the manpower for the street regiments. They were only looking for guys who were close to going home, the up-and-comings, the natural leaders, and talented criminals who had something to offer the organization, and guys who would be committed to pushing their agenda forward. But after working with them, I got the sense that Big Smiley was trying to keep us all for himself and was expecting us to cut ties with the regiments we were already assigned to. I wasn't about to cut my ties with Big Roach and Conejo. I was under strict orders to stay in contact, and I knew I had to cover myself. I figured I'd still work with them to take that step, and that I'd basically work all that out later. Big Smiley was a long-time stalwart whom I soon realized was full of himself. He was a dedicated believer who had good intentions to breathe life into the NF, but had an inordinate ability to over-glorify himself, and he was too aggressive. I still respected the guy because of who he was, but it didn't take long to see that he had an overly inflated ego. MC was laid back and calculated. He was another true believer who had an encyclopedic knowledge. Him and Big Smiley were completely diametric in their styles. Without any hesitation, I adamantly expressed my willingness to make the commitment. This was something I'd been striving for, and now this was my chance. They began working with me and placed me on a 90-day probationary period. During this period of time, I was given sections of the NF Constitution to study and function as if I was already a member. This was twofold. For one, to determine whether or not I was cut out to become a member, and secondly, it's an opportunity to decide whether or not this is what I wanted before I took that final blood oath. Members are taught about Gray's Anatomy to become prolific killers when stabbing or attacking enemies. They're encouraged to study Eastern philosophy, Sun Tzu, Mao Zedong, Socrates, Machiavelli, and revolutionary-inspired writings to help develop the militant guerrilla urban warfare mentality. They are also required to understand the concept and significance of the NF's insignia, a Mexican-style hat, sombrero with a dagger piercing through it. The hat symbolizes the Mexican heritage and the dagger represents the violent nature of the organization. There's a drawstring or a braided rope attached to the sombrero, which is supposed to characterize a unified, unbreakable chain of NF members. At the tip of the dagger, there are 3 drops of blood. Each drop has its own individual meaning. 1 drop is for all the enemy blood that has been spilled in the course of battle. The 2nd drop is for all those members who have sacrificed their lives defending the organization, basically blood in. And the remaining drop is for all those members who turn coward, traitor, or deserter, blood in, blood out. Along with me, 4 other NR members were also put up for membership. Rico Smiley Garcia, Cesar Lobo Ramirez, Vincent Chente Garcia, all from Salinas, and Gerald Oso Winston from Santa Rosa. Prior to Big Smiley and MC departing, we all made the cut and our memberships were officially sanctioned. I was in the big leagues now and a member of the Familia. The version of the Constitution that I received back in the mid-90s was a condensed version that wasn't as expansive as the original, which was drafted back in the 70s. The breadth of the concepts remained the same, but most of the lengthy subdivisions were later removed. The Constitution would undergo yet another major revision in the late 90s that almost restored it to its original form. However, this was the compendious draft I was given. Objective and Bylaws, Article 1. The primary purpose and goals of this organization is for the betterment of its members and the building up of this organization into a strong and self-supporting organization. 2. All members will work solely for this purpose, putting all personal feelings and goals aside until said fulfillment is accomplished. 3. A member shall remain a member unless otherwise discharged. He will always be subject to put the organization's best interest first and always above everything else. 4. A member will honor his commitment in fulfilling his responsibilities in establishing organizational territories and work in hand with other members. 5. Expulsion is automatic for any member who turns coward, traitor, or deserter. Expulsion is the revoking of membership, respect, and all benefits this organization has to offer. 6. In order to invoke Section 5, Article 1, the organizational governing body will hold a vote amongst themselves, majority rules. In the case of a tie vote, the decision will lie with a representative of the OGB, organizational governing body. His decision shall be final. Article 2, Section 1. All requests for membership will be made to the OGB according to the existing policies at the time the request is made, and any member can make such a request for any individual. 2. Any individual seeking membership can be denied or excluded for misrepresentation of his qualifications or intentions. 3. The OGB has the power to impose limitations or authorize exceptions regarding recruitment. Article 3, Section 1. All members are subject to disciplinary action or expulsion for his misconduct or behavior unbecoming a member. Said conditions shall prevail with regards to the member, his superiors, or the organization as a whole. 2. The OGB will govern and oversee all organization policies and procedures. Any and all decisions made by the OGB shall be final. 3. The RSD, Regimental Security Department, will pass all sentencing and see to the administering of punishment for all minor infractions of conduct. 4. A member will not disrespect a fellow member or his superiors, be that in actions or words. 5. At no time shall there be any fighting amongst members. To do so will result in expulsion of one or both parties involved. 6. A member will not lie or give false impressions when discussing organization business with another member or his superiors. 7. No member shall put material things before a fellow member of this organization, including money, women, or drugs. 8. It is the sacred duty of a member to honor his commitment to this organization, and no member shall feel entitled to any special privileges because of his rank or actions. All that should matter is that you are living up to your responsibilities as a member. Remember, a true familiano does not need to brag or boast about his accomplishments. 9. Under no circumstances shall a member mislead another member, nor misinterpret this Constitution for personal gain. Nor are there to be any alterations without notification of at least 2/3 decision from the OGB. As all NR members were mandated to study and memorize the bonds and format, it was also mandatory for all NF members to study and memorize the Constitution. I used to literally wake up every morning and read the Constitution as if it was my Bible, studying it in a religious type of fashion. That's why it's often referred to as the Bible. On November 11, 1994, my membership became final and I was officially married to La Señora, or as some of the old school members would say when asked what their tattoo NF initials stood for, I was now married to Nancy Flores. The things MC told me during my induction ceremony kept playing back in my head. Decrees must be obeyed, even if it meant neglecting a dying child or killing your own flesh and blood. In theory, my family, my children, and even my wife were all supposed to come second to this organization. The organization's best interests were paramount over everything else, and now I was fully committed. Unlike the NR, where a street commitment is optional, the NF has you for life. I embraced this and committed myself wholeheartedly. But later on in my career, these doctrines would literally be tested. While I was still in San Quentin, Connie gave birth to a healthy baby girl in August 1995. I still remember the day I found out as a prison chaplain walked up to my cell and handed me a small piece of paper simply stating, "Healthy 8-pound little girl, congratulations, Daddy." I was beyond happy. I was on cloud 9 and let everyone there on the tier with me know that I had a daughter. Connie previously had a miscarriage, and I was a little worried about her pregnancy. Hearing everything went well without any complications made me feel on top of the world. There was a younger homeboy of mine, a couple cells down from me, by the name of Robert Loquito Lopez from San Francisco, that I ended up embracing like a little brother. I even shot him the small piece of paper the chaplain handed me, just so someone else could share in my delectation. Over the next 2 months, I began schooling Loquito on street topics, and we made plans to work together in the regiment. He wanted to function, and I needed the manpower because it was scarce out there in the city. This was what we concentrated on until I paroled.